Today, on behalf of the Manipur Tribals Forum, Delhi, and the tribal people, especially the Kuki, Zomi, Mar community of Manipur tribals, I would like to welcome each and every one of you from the press and fellow sympathizers. I would like to extend my hearty welcome to all of you. Today marks the 100th day, counting from the 3rd of May, since the violence in Manipur has started. And as you can see and observe, there has not been any respite. The trouble has continued, the violence has continued, and we are still in a very difficult situation. Today, as I stand here, I would like to thank all the media, journalists, and the news media outlets who have strived and put a lot of effort to bring out an unbiased narration, which would be crucial and vital for bringing about justice and true peace and harmony among our fellow countrymen. Having said that, it is also unfortunate still that our country, which is one of the biggest democratic countries in the world, and the people living in it has not been able to completely condemn a mob violence of the Manipur tribals are illegal migrants. That's one. Then there was another narrative that came out saying that that community is a narco-terrorist. That's another. Then there comes another one which says that they are militant. That sounds good, but sounds like an excuse of a bully. Why am I saying this? Are we going to keep on condoning these excuses and excuses made for violence? Don't we have a constitution and which protects the rights of every human being? Don't we have an institution which can investigate and do a proper due process in this matter? Why is a full community being condemned on such unnecessary excuses is the question that I would like to ask to the media. Why is the media condoning to these excuses is the question that we are asking as a minority who doesn't have voice. Now today please ask yourself, India prides itself to be one of the biggest military country of the democratic world. Let's look at the illegal immigrants. Statistic has not proved that. And if there is at all, don't the state government or the central government has a proper procedure to take care of that? Why are they trying to derogate a full community for that? We are the citizen of India. We abide by the law. And we always cooperate with whatever the law says. So that has to be taken into consideration. Let us look at narco-terrorism. Do we want narcotics to be happening in our community? No. There has been a lot of proof that the community itself has condemned time and again and moved against such narco-terrorism. Is the India government, the Union of India, so weak that it has to do a big brush and try to eliminate an entire community for that? Does it show its weakness just by putting up a community like that? That's a weakness, and that's not the right way. If we are a strong government with a democratic strength, one should be able to do a precision. The Prime Minister prides himself of doing a precision precision strike. One has to be able to surgically remove such tumors if there is any. Look at militancy in the Northeast is a non thing. But why use it as an excuse to try and eliminate a complete community? Don't you have enough armed force there? Take care of it in a proper manner, taking consideration of the innocent people living there. So therefore, all these are the questions that you have to ask. And there are forced narration that came out, saying that only 10% of the majority community are living in 10% of the land, and 90% of the lands are being occupied by the less than 40% or 50% of the population. Such narration are just made to incite violence and hate among the people. Now, can the media at least dig a little deeper? Because if you look at the geography of Manipur, it is not at all a complete plain. Now, when you are looking at the plain of the 10%, it's plain, habitable, and properly cultivable and fertile. Now, there's a study by Dr. A.K. Sundar Kumar Singh, who is a reader in the Geography, Department of Geography in Churchanpur College. He has done a study which says that the physiological density of the population in Manipur, the land pressure, is much higher in the hill because of the unproductive nature of the hill than in the plain. It's not that the population pressure is not there, but there's equal pressure in the hill and the valley. So please, my request to our guardian of our democracy, the media, people, please let us bring out fact, let us be accurate in our report, and also have the courage to condemn when someone is taking law in their own hands. Killing is never justified. Either way, a Mtfd die or a tribal dies, a general person dies. It's never condoned. But taking law into your own hands, for example, the Kokomi recently announced their own dictats, saying that such people are do so and so and should be done so and so. Are they in the government? Can they decide such things? As long as we allow the law to be handled by mob and unauthorized civil organizations such as that, peace never come to that kind of situation. It's a mob-ruled country that we are living in. Therefore, that has to be proper. And a huge blow come to us when the Solicitor General say that the people who died in Nepal are infiltrators. Do they have proof? And unfortunately, yesterday, the Home Minister Sri Amit Shah Singh himself said that the violence started because of the overflow of the cooking infiltrator from Myanmar. Do they have proof? How can that happen? If there is an infiltrator, why don't they use a surgical strike? They are so proud of it. Why they try to eliminate an entire community? Now, this is a very scary situation for us. Why? Because what the Solicitor General say and the Home Minister is saying are becoming aligned. Is there something going on? I don't know. I hope it is not. And I pray that it is not. But it is not worthy. First, we are called migrants. Now that the migrants of the entire community cannot happen, they are coming into infiltrators. What are they going to come up with next? So therefore, it's extremely unfortunate at this point that the voice and the big and the majority of the Mediterranean community are trying to give narrations, and the weak don't have a voice without law and order. Our only safety is in the establishment of law and order. You know that. It's in every nook and corner of the country. Therefore, I request our media people to please give the voice for law and order, justice, and peace, and also safeguard our democracy in this country. I have taken much time, but I have my fellow members here. I would like to introduce them briefly. We have Paul from law student. We have Dr. Marcy K. Vite from law faculty, Delhi University. We have Dr. Marcy B. Vite from JNU, German Studies. We have Napoleon Hauke from Siamla College. And I am Dr. Chintanlun Vite. I teach in St. Stephen's College and I am the spokesperson of Manipur Tribal Forum. So now I would like to call upon Dr. Marcy from JNU to please brief us a little bit on historical perspective.
Thank you, Dr. Loon, for that hard-hitting introduction. And I'd like to address, before I come on to the historical aspects of what actually is happening in our country today, I'd like to thank the media partners here for coming and, accepting the voice of the minority. The voice of the minority cannot be suppressed anymore. It is clear enough. We cannot be subjugated anymore. And before coming to the historical, this happened and that happened, we are a part of India. I would like to ask the predominant culture, the majoritarian culture, the Meiteis here, what did you want that you have actually, performed a large-scale ethnic violence and an ethnic program against the tribals of Manipur? What do you want? This will be my question to the majoritarian Meitei society. And with that, I would like to come to the historical aspects which my colleague here, Dr. Loon, had actually stated briefly. The rumors about illegal immigrants hurts us because I am a part of India. I am an Indian citizen. All my colleagues sitting here are passport holders of the Indian state and the Indian constitution. None of us sitting here or here in the audience, my respected colleagues here, are illegal immigrants. None of us are illegal immigrants here. And with that, this whole idea of illegal immigrants came because the Manipur tribal people have a part extended areas in the Chittagong Hills, a part of Assam, a part of Mizoram. See, that should not confuse us. The boundary that we are talking about is in the state of Manipur today. There is no infiltration from across the border, and the tribals have been living here since time immemorial in the hills of Manipur. In the year 1871-72, Raja Lokatambite was the leader of the Zo people, the Zo ethnicity. He ruled the hill areas, and he was sadly arrested by the Raja Chandrakirti Singh of the Manipur kingdom. And then what happened was he was arrested and he died a custodial death. When he was arrested by the king of the Raja Chandrakirti Singh of the Meitei kingdom. Now the tribal areas were governed since time immemorial, from the time of Raja Gopatangute, differently from the valley region that we know of, that small part of the valley region, Imphal and the borders area of Manipur. Now the tribal areas then came to, I'll jump on because historical can be very strategic and sometimes too much to take in. I will just be brief and specific to the point that during the British rule also, the tribal areas in Manipur were governed separately from the valley areas. And in the British rule, only after 1917 to 1919, this is also called the Zogal, the Kuki-Anglo War, and then the Meiteis came into, the Meiteis were actually already under the British rule in 1891. That is when they were defeated in this Meitei Manipuri Anglo War in Khongjang. Now, even after Manipur merger, I'm jumping on to 50 years ahead from now, the reason I wanted to explain why this part, the hill areas and the majoritarian Manipur Meitei Valley parts are governed by the British rule before and after. If you see, look at the dates, 1891 and 1917 and 1990. It was only then that the hilly areas came under the British rule, but way before that, the Meiteis were under the British rule. Now, even after jumping 50 years ahead from now, 1949 Manipur merger under the government of India. See, after the, what happened is that the hill areas and the valley areas, they were all merged together. But in 1971, when Manipur state attained statehood, the hill areas, according to the Article 371C, it is suggested that in the provision of HAC, that is the Hill Area Committee, that they will be governed separately. Now, to that I would like to ask a question. Is it too difficult for the government of India to actually grant us our demands since time immemorial, that we have been governed separately, we are a separate, two very separate entities, historically also, geographically also, and culturally also. And it is not an imaginary divide that some of our Meitei majoritarian scholars would like to say. This is not an imaginary divide. The divide was there since time immemorial, and this is why I would like to say the only thing that is imaginary from the Meitei side is that they think that our demands can be, or is a wishful thinking. It should not be a wishful thinking. It can be concretized if the government of India really wants to listen to the voice of the minority, because it is the time of the sovereignty. With that, I would like to end this part of mine, and I would like to call on my colleague Mercy Khawde for all our appeals to the judiciary, and she will talk about the human rights issues. Thank you.
I would like to begin saying that unfortunately, being a woman, it's very, very hurtful to be standing here to actually put across the plight of women in Manipur, which is now ethnically divided for reasons which is now beyond the obvious. And unfortunately, the viral video that we have seen that has really, like the Prime Minister said, has left the country in deep shame, has been able to do what the voices of the cookies have not been able to do since the 3rd of May. Our cries for help to the government has been unheard. So today I just want to quickly tell you that, the viral video that we saw was not just an isolated event. And it is not just an event that happened overnight, but it's a culmination of a series of events that has happened. And I'm here not to say who's right or who's wrong, but I'm here to substantiate whatever I put forth with some pieces of evidence. So for people in the press, if you're interested after the conference is over, I can share a copy with you as well. Now I want to first of all begin with this picture that I have here, where it is quite obvious that the residents of the South Kuki community people in the valley was already marked before the 3rd of May. This was marked. Now you call us narco-terrorists, you say we are illegal immigrants. Then if you came and you marked our house as state officials, why did you not spare these houses? But these houses were the houses that were burned, that were looted, where murders were committed. I also have a picture of I have these two pictures. This is a post that was kept up on Twitter on the 28th of April by one of the leaders of the radical group, and I will abstain from taking names because that's for the press to find out, because I believe you are a very powerful institution. No action has been taken against this person to date. And this is a picture of an innocent man, an innocent boy, all of 22 years. Hamlan Manipur. He was arrested because of a post that he uploaded on Facebook from a forward message he received on WhatsApp. The police arrested him on the 29th of April. 4 days after that, his family is informed that he has died. It's a clear case of custodial death. No investigation has been done, and I am also told that there has been no arrest memo. The police, when they make an arrest memo is very much a part of the procedure. So there has been blatant disregard for the procedure of law as well. And I also have some other, proofs that I want to put across. We keep talking about David Haig. The kind of crimes that has been committed is unprecedented. The kind of atrocities that has been committed is unprecedented, and something that I don't think should ever be repeated as long as humanity exists on this earth. This is a picture of David Haig. The severed head, and you can see here that the killer is freely moving around, and these pictures have been uploaded on public websites, on all social media. But no action has been taken against the killer of David Haig. This is a picture of another man who has been, killed the very next day after Honorable Home Minister visited Manipur and prayed for 15 days of peace. The very next day when he pleaded for 15 days of peace, this man here, all 41 years old, his limbs were chopped off and he was burned alive. This is the kind of atrocities that have been committed. So it is not just a war between two communities, but today all of us sitting here, we want to raise our voice. And the press, as the fourth arm of democracy, we believe that you will help us in our fight for the rule of law. Had the rule of law been upheld, the situation would have not been so bad as it is today. Because we also have, instances where a 62-year-old woman had been shot at right in front of a school, alleging her to be a suicide bomber. There has been not an iota of proof, but it seems like the state is willing to accept the fact that, she is a suicide bomber because no investigations have been carried out. And unfortunately, a few weeks later, Mrs. Lucy Marin was also shot dead by the militants. But this is a result, this is a copy of an agreement that was entered by the state with the family of Mrs. Lucy. I am not saying that the victim is undeserving, but when a 62-year-old schizophrenic woman belonging to the Kuki community's death is unheard of, it's not investigated. Within 24 hours of this incident, where they shot dead another lady belonging to the Naga community, immediate arrest was made. And this is a copy of the agreement that has been entered in, where the Chief Minister, Mr. Viren Singh, was a chair to this. So what I'm trying to point out here is that the partisan attitude of the state is something that is very, very disturbing, and it hits on the root of our democracy, Indian democracy. Now, if I have to tell you the list of all that has happened, it's going to be very, very long because more than 6,000 FIRs have been registered. And quite rightly so pointed out by the Supreme Court of India. These FIRs that await investigation is something that reflects, the partisan attitude of the state. It reflects a very blatant violation of human rights. It reflects the failure to uphold the principles that are embedded in our preamble to the Indian Constitution that talks about equality. We are talking about equality. We are talking about equal subjugation before the law. No matter who is the perpetrator, no matter who is the wrongdoer, the victims must be given justice. I just want to quickly also tell you that hate speech has been very rampant, and this has gone unaddressed. The other day, we all would be aware that in Gurgaon there was an incident. Immediately, the newspaper report showed that the Chief Minister had stepped in and said, control all, hate crimes. That was an immediate reaction. But in Manipur, till today, hate speech has been so rampant. It shows nothing but the lack of political will. There is no situation that the government cannot control within 24 hours. We have also seen in the past, we have also had ex-IBS officer who also authored a book which is called Chair Mein Curfew, where he clearly says that if any riot is not controlled within 24 hours, it reflects the lack of political will, which has been in the state of Manipur since the dawn of the day, and it continues to be so. Now, if I may quickly talk about the relief centers, there are more than 20,000 people who are languishing in these relief centers, and there have been more than 100 crores of relief package. But let me tell you, unfortunately, not one of these relief packages has reached to our brothers and sisters who are in the relief centers in the hill districts. The women, there are many women who are lactating, there are women who are senior citizens, There are no medicine facilities. We don't have multi-specialty hospitals. The only medical college that we have, which was functional just last year, has now been abruptly stopped because of this incident. But the tribal students, they are yet to be relocated. 4 days after the 3rd of May, we also know that the education minister had flown from Imphal to Delhi. You know, the Mtfd students were taken down from the hill areas and they were reinstated in the medical colleges in the valley. Why not for our students? If you look at the number of dropouts also, today young boys, they don't have a choice than to defend. They don't have a choice than to volunteer. They don't have a choice than to take up arms because we are all the time being attacked. Can we understand the future that beholds us? The number of dropouts that are going, the digits are going to go so high. The number of psychiatric illness that are going to surface. So where is the healing touch going to come from? That's a big question. You will also see in the written memorandum that we have also circulated that there have also been casualties. There has also been there are a 2-year-old boy in one of the relief camps for lack of medicine, and this little boy died of measles, which also means that the case may have spread. There may have been many more infections, and we know that the hilly areas in the country, they are bound to receive more monsoons than any other place. But today there is a lack of mosquito nets. There are lack of medicines even for fever. There are no medicines. The hill areas are running short of medicines for diabetes, which is a very, very common illness. So where do we go from here? The nearest airport for us would be Aizawl, because we don't dare to go to Imphal, because the moment we step out of our Lanka, we are going to be shot at. So if you say that this is not an ethnic cleansing, I'm sorry, I think we really need to redefine our understanding of what ethnic cleansing is. Because if you look at the genocidal method of how this crime has been committed, doesn't it remind us of Rwanda and Bosnia? Can we still deny that this is not a case of ethnic cleansing? There are no there's a lack of basic amenities when it comes to food, nutrition. We are a country that we pride ourselves, we say Beti Bachao. What has happened to our daughters in these more than 2 years? Women who are also married into the Beti communities are also not spared. I can give you, proofs, because it's all available now. No matter how much we try to curb the voice of the people, the more you try to curb, the more loudly is the voice going to resonate. And it has begun now. These schools, the schools have not been functioning since the 3rd of May, because all of these schools have been converted into shelter homes. It's not just about students who are in the class 8, class 9 or class 10 to appear for the board exams. What about the children who have just started off their school? Because a well beginning is half done. The country, the world has just gotten out of COVID, and this is what we are making our children face again, because the internet has been shut down for so long. Now we have limited access. Another question that comes to my mind is, for all this time that the internet was shut down, there was no financial transaction that could have happened. Is the Ministry of Finance going to tell the banks to forgive these persons, victims of ethnic cleansing, or their EMIs if they for a month? Where are we going to generate our source of income? Where are we going to generate our source of livelihood? These are all blatant violations of Article 21. And let's remind ourselves that Article 21, the right to life and dignity, is available not just to Indian citizens like us, it is also available to non-citizens. And this is the beauty of the Indian Constitution. When we talk about hate crimes, what is it that we are waiting for? There has been so many false propagandas, narratives that are not correct. And these are what are misleading. And yet we don't seem to be able to tackle the issue effectively. We talk about narco-terrorism. MBPS is one of the most, the strongest legislation that we have in India. Is MBPS legislation not strong enough for the state of Manipur that the state had to go on an ethnic cleansing? The intelligence of India is something that the world responds. Why is it that the state government could not identify who are these particular persons who are causing nuisance? We are also with you. We as a society also, we have also initiated war against drugs. We also have children who are victims of drug abuse. It is not one-sided. So the more we try to do that it is one-sided, the more the chances of calm, the more the chances of peace, the more the chances of settlement is a big, big question mark. be any video that is going to actually show us, what torture was being committed, that this boy had to die. Though the police said that, the mob attacked him. But how come the police, the police escaped unhurt, whereas the arrested person in their custody was lynched there? There have been many incidences. And I'm sorry, I need to refer back to the video where we have Miss X and Miss Y. I don't need to repeat the facts, I don't need to repeat the visual, what has happened. But one thing that's striking is that what they say, and this is a testimony that a number of people have said, is that they were handed over by the police to the cops. What happens when the protector of our women becomes the perpetrators themselves? And to wind up my session, I would also want to highlight the fact that, court summons have been issued to us, to the scholars belonging to the Mtfd community. We talk about freedom of speech and expression. All that we did was we just answered questions to an interview that was being put forward to us. We never called for alienating our community. We never called for committing atrocities of crime. We were just giving pure answers to straightforward questions, and for that we were issued summons. Why are we letting a certain section of our society making a mockery of our law, making a mockery of our judicial system? Because our judicial system, the courts are a temple of justice, and it is impartial and it is unbiased. And I would also want to conclude by applauding the Supreme Court for stepping in and for taking up the case of atrocities against women as a result of this ethnic violence with utmost sincerity and utmost caution, because it reflects their sensitivity. And it is very wrong, and I am so proud of the court that we, under whose jurisdiction we are, because in the voice of the Chief Justice, he makes it very clear that it would be very wrong to equate or to generalize the crime against women in the ethnically divided state of Manipur as any other crime that happens in any other part of the country. Because we need to start calling a spade a spade. There are challenges ahead, many challenges ahead. But for a sense of closure to prevail, it is important, and it is not just a demand, but it is an essential requirement, that our appeal, our prayer, for an administration where the egos of the tribals will be regarded, where our participation will be respected, where our interests also will not be, will be taken into account and not sidelined. No matter what you call it, it is our appeal, it is our prayer that give us the opportunity also where we can strive and we can participate in this India that we call Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you.
Thank you, previous speakers, and also I would like to thank our media friends for listening to the voice of the minority, listening to the voice of the voiceless. The violence that begins on Katwe is a large-scale violence, but I just want to remind our media friends that this is not the first time they were suffering at the hands of the larger community in Manipur. In 2005, more than hundreds of our women belonging to Mar community in Chutampur district were gang raped. But maybe at that time, the video could not come out, so it could not reach the mainland India. But that was the torture we suffered. And about the same year, in Chandra district, hundreds of our people were killed by the Meitei militants. And thanks to the Indian army, later on they were driven away. And still lots of them are still in Burma. So the discrimination and the marginalization of the tribal people in Manipur is an ongoing process. It is nothing new. It has not started on May 3. So since the inception of the state, because of the majority community, their policies and their attitude, the tribals have been neglected, deprived and discriminated. The area where the tribals lack the most is their source of livelihood. And most of them, more than 82% of them depends on agriculture, which is associated with low average income. On the other hand, for the non-tribals, only 35% of them depends on agriculture. So whoever comes to Manipur will see that all the economic and infrastructure progress are located in Imphal Valley alone. So if we look at Imphal West, today is the most developed district among the northeastern states according to the Northeastern Region District Development Infrastructure Index 2009. Thoubal and Imphal East are placed in 6th and 11th position, whereas the hills districts like Ukhrul, Tamenglong, Chuchampur, and Chandel are ranked at 68, 75, 76 and 78 respectively. Similarly, the Niti Aayog 2021 report titled Northeastern Region District SDG Index Baseline Report 2021 shows that valley districts are most developed in terms of fulfillment of sustainable development goals, which includes poverty, hunger, health and well-being, education, decent work and economic growth, among other as indices. So you find that all the benefits, all the economic benefits are concentrated in the Meitei-dominated valley districts in Manipur alone. And even in terms of education infrastructure, almost all the universities, medical and technical institutes are located in Imphal Valley alone. There are 8 universities: Central Agriculture Universities, DM University, Manipur University, Manipur University of Culture, Manipur Technical University, National Sports University, Shanghai International University, Manipur International University, and 2 medical institutes, Jawaharlal Nehru Institute of Medical Sciences and Regional Institute of Medical Sciences, and 3 technical institutes, Manipur Institute of Technology, Indian Institute of Information Technology, National Institute of Technology. They are all located in Imphal Valley alone. Only recently, 2 institutes, namely Chuchampur Medical College and Indira Gandhi National Tribal University, are established in Hill District. Even in terms of public health facilities, the Hill District did not have even one government-owned super specialty hospital. And there have been lots of concern raised about land crunch in the valley districts of Manipur. However, the population density of the state is among the lowest in the country, and the hills in Manipur are mostly unfit for human habitation. So even though the hills constitute about 90% of the state, the hills are sparsely populated. Certain habitable regions in Hill District of Chuchampur, like Lamka, have a population density of 654 people per square kilometer, which is almost the same as the valley districts like Imphal East, which has a density of 643 square kilometer, or like Bishnupur, which has got a population density of 479 square kilometer. And there has been much propaganda being spread about the non-tribal Meitei population not able to purchase land in the hill districts and the valleys flooded by people of all communities. While it is true that Article 371C provides certain protection to tribal, this protection is not absolute. So you will find Meitei population living in Chuchampur, Kampopi or Tengnobo district. The controversial Manipur Land and Revenue Act is also illegally applied in southern hill districts of Manipur. The tribals in Manipur have to find some settlement in Imphal Valley as it is the state capital and most education and medical institutes are located here. The economic disparity between the tribal and non-tribal Meitei population is likely to be more pronounced in future, particularly for the Kuki, Zomi and Mal tribals. There are some who argue that the topographic factors are solely responsible for the disparity and absolve the state government of discrimination against the tribal. However, this is not true. The Niti Aayog findings reveal that Sikkim, which is another rich state, holds the highest ranking among northeastern states, and Mizoram doing better than Manipur. Therefore, the central government has to urgently address the current crisis so that the Kuki, Zomi, Mat tribals are not subjected to further discrimination, violence, or relegated to second-class citizens. Thank you.
Thank you to the media house. I hope today the media will present the truth and the truth shall prevail. More than 100 days since the beginning of the crisis in Manipur, the solution which they had promised is still unfulfilled. Why the tribal people need separate administration? Since the beginning, with the tribal people, we had a form of a government, like a Greek city-state form of government. We were never a part of the mainland Mtfd people. We were separated since inception with the Mtfd. We were not together. We need separate administration because the Mtfd people, they forcefully drag us out from the Imphal Valley. Our demand is legitimate, legal, and lawful. It is within the constitutional aspect and purview. Our demands. It is not that we are a separatist or we are asking a separate nation or a country. We are asking a separate state or union territory within the framework of the Indian Constitution, which is very valid, legitimate, and lawful. Physiographically, geographically, we are already separated. We were already forced out. Even our own ministers, the tribal ministers, they are not safe at the Imphal Valley. Do you think the common man or the common people like us will be safe at Imphal Valley? See the government employee, the state and the central government employee. No one is left here at Imphal Valley. All the tribal people, all the tribal government employees, they were already, left the Imphal Valley. So our demand is very legitimate. We are not a separatist because we did everything as per the law and everything is legal. Well, I just want to mention this. Armed Forces Special Power Act. Just before the problem started on May 3rd, certain valley area were, lifted from AFSPA. AFSPA was relieved from there. And they have imposed in the hilly area, which is not, all the many insurgencies. Around 7 insurgencies or organizations were declared unlawful organization or terrorist organization. In that area, the AFSPA had been relieved. But the tribal area, not even a single organization has been declared illegal organization or terrorist organization. They should have uplift AFSPA in the hilly region. And also I would like to mention that in 2005-06, I am one of the big team in Payung area in Herzog district. They came to our village. Most of the Mtfd insurgencies came to our village. I was in my high school during that time. I was running out for my life. We were settled in the camp that time. 21 ladies were grabbed, then grabbed. We were facing that kind of situation. the media should have known this before, but lately the media came out with the news. And also I would like to mention this. On 30th of August, coming 30th of August 2023, the Mtfd women or Mera parties, they plan to organize a rally in Kangui and Lamka area to come to this area. They should not have made this kind of plan or program. In this kind of situation where the situation is not at not the right moment to organize this kind of rally to the tribal area. They should stop doing this. Their life or the situation can be much more volatile and it can be more worse. The Mtfd Mera party should stop this kind of organizing protest or a rally to the tribal area. And also, I would like to thank the Mizoram government and the Mizo people in Mizoram for lending a helping hand to the tribal people who Zomi our community of the Manipur. We really thank you and appreciate for your helping hand. And long live the unity of the tribal in Manipur. Thank you.
We've heard enough, we've said enough, we have read enough. What is the next step? What is the way ahead? How can we resolve this Manipur violence? This is what we are going to discuss. And in order to discuss that, I would like to present some of our appeal also to the government of India that we demand immediate cessation of attacks which are ongoing each and every day in the peripheral areas in and around Imphal, in the Kuki, Somi, Mar villages. Please stop the attacks, and there should be more deployment of central forces in these areas. The enforcement of the buffer zone should be seen to it, and also that the Manipur commandos, the Manipur state commandos, even if they are positioned in these areas, the central forces should accompany them, because we are talking about ethnicities and biases here. Now, the third appeal that we have is that the government of India should act swiftly to arrest the perpetrators of these violence, particularly the Mtfd militants and the radical groups. We want the identification of all the dead bodies and the bodies which are not or could not be identified. At least please preserve the DNA of these bodies, because the right to life is also equally to the right to the dead also. The next appeal and demand is that, which one of my colleagues here also mentioned, that the displaced students from Manipur. See, I say this because Manipur, this historical discrimination of the tribal people has been a very long history. It has been existing since the time when the Manipur merger happened, when Manipur was a state already. The hilly tribal people were always discriminated, they were underrepresented, and also the centers of excellence, such as what my colleague here, Dr. Lee Haukip mentioned, all the center of excellence, the schools, the institutions are only placed in the valley region. And here, lots of hilly tribal people who studied there are unable to return back now. What will happen to them? We are talking about generations of life being spoiled. How will they study now? Where are they going to go? So this is our demand, that the displaced students, all having to run away from the valley region, continue their studies, be able to continue their studies outside the state, anywhere in India. And that should be seen by the center government. And also, we also want to demand that the looted weapons and the armories should be returned back in order to maintain peace, so that no more attacks happen. a lot of diseases spreading in and around. There's waterlogging in the relief camps. And the last but not the least, it is a political solution. We did not run away from our state, Manipur. We have been driven away. Now, if we have been driven away, what is the solution? The only solution is total separation. And total separation in the form of union territory with state legislature. Let the minority Hindi tribal people function for themselves. Now, when the state governance fails, and you act upon, you start attacking the minority with such magnitude of ethnic cleansing, and you straight away blame the minority people of having started the violence. Now, this is wrong. And I request my media friends here to actually research, analyze, and try and understand that this ethnic violence is systemic, it is orchestrated by most of the powerful predominant cultures, and that you have to see this. If two warring communities cannot exist together, what is the solution? Where do we go from here? It is pointless to discuss the history, the past, this happened, you did that, I did that. It is pertinent today that the voices of the minority are allowed to govern themselves, and to see that there is separate administration, there is separate governance, and also to actually bring peace to our beautiful country, our democratic country, India, because this is the constitution of India. I'd like to end it. Thank you.
Thank you very much to all our speakers, and also to the media persons and journalists who have come and listened to us. And finally, as you can see, in a family, India is known for its joint family. But even in a joint family, when the families have to split, then the family has to split so that people can grow. So it's like a garbhasana. So if you can not stay in the same joint family, then the opportunity to grow and prosper should be given to its individuals, or I will not say individual, but its community. And today, as the spokesperson of Manipur Tribal Forum, Delhi, and on behalf of the tribal people from Manipur, I appeal to my countrymen, my government, guardian of the democracy of a country, that tribal people be given the opportunity to be part of the nation building and contribute to the growth of the country at large. If you look at the statistics of the population of tribal people in Manipur, you'll find that we are industrious, we are innovative, and we are hardworking. And we have the capacity and the ability to administer ourselves and grow and be proud, and be a proud Indian citizen. So therefore, with this, I would like to conclude our press conference. I will take Q&A from the press as per the availability of time, and please put up your questions, and depending on the relevance, I'll pass on if I can answer them, I will answer them, and otherwise I will request my fellow panelists to answer to your queries. Please.
This is specially concerning the Manipur Assembly session. Madam Mufti, जो MLA
Can you repeat your question so that other people can hear you?
I'm Orly Bhuya from Mtfd. I just wanted to know, there is a special session of the Manipur Assembly that has been coming from August 21.
Yes.
So there are reports that the MLAs, cookie-jo MLAs are going to boycott the station. Can we get any confirmation on that?
Now, this has to be looked into a due perspective, because this is something to do with the MLAs, that is the legislators. But if you look at the current situation in Manipur in the valley, you must have observed that the Mera Paibis, the so-called Mera Paibis, have been checking the ID card of even the Assam rifles who are passing through the valley, checking their Aadhaar card and their ethnicity. Now, with that kind of situation, do we think that they will be able to go in there on a very layman logic? It's doubtful. They do promise security if they are going to join. Now, when the security has failed completely in the valley, will they go out there to risk their life? That is doubtful. So, that is on the security part. Let us look on terms of what can they achieve going to the Manipur government over there, is the question you have to ask. So, the first question you have to ask is that what was the demand made by the Kuki, Zomi, Mar community, MLAs, that is separate administration. Is the Manipur government capable of giving that? I don't think so, since the CM itself has staying very clear. Therefore, is there a ground for negotiation over there? That has to be asked. Therefore, there are a lot of questions that need to be answered before we can say that our representative will go there. So, unless those are addressed, I don't think it is right for me to answer. They are the right person to answer, but that much prospective I can give.
You said
May I add to that? I think I'm loud enough. No, just one point to that question. Boycott is a very dangerous word. It is not us who are boycotting. We are compelled not to come. Why? Because if the normal citizens are not safe, the MLAs are also not safe in the valley. How are they supposed to go there? So that is the biggest question.
Yes, please.
You said Home Minister Amit Shah's statement in the Parliament yesterday, saying Kuki infiltrators have caused this ongoing ethnic violence. What message would you like to give to the Home Minister?
I would request a person as big as the Home Minister, who has the entire government, or who is the person who has control over the entire security force of the country. I would request him to be more prudent in his comment, because it entails the life of lakhs of people. So, if with the power that he has, I believe he also has the power to investigate. With the power that he has the power to get evidence and do a due process. But speaking out for political mileage, there is a saying that says, when elephant fights, the grasses suffer. I have said this before. Therefore, when the big people fight, the opposition or the ruling party, we the small people really appeal to them that it doesn't cause unnecessary suffering for the laymen and the small people who doesn't have votes. That is our appeal to our Home Minister, Amit Shah.
I'll just add on to that. I think I'm audible from here. So, adding to when we talk about a statement being made by some of the political leaders, it's quite mind-boggling and very unsettling. It's quite mind-boggling and very unsettling because, when you look at the pattern in which the genocidal attacks have happened, it has happened in a large scale, So if this is the question of spilling of illegal immigrants, then my question also is that why was there not adequate security at the border? We know that the northeast borders are very porous. Why did we not deploy, or why did we not have, did we run out of mechanisms to check on all of these persons that now we are saying, making a sweeping statement as this and saying that this event has happened because of, overspillage. There was a time when we could have acted. So it's very wrong because like the pictures that I showed you also, there have been, marking of the houses that belong to the Cookies community, and most of the people who are residents in the Imphal Valley are, employees of the state government or employed under the central government as well. When attacks were being made, did we check their cards? Did we check their employment certificates and said that, these are not illegal immigrants? We did not do that. When we were attacked as on the grounds of our ethnicity. So now, making a statement as this is just opening up our wounds again and leaving it to bleed. So I think statements as this also have to be very, very carefully made. And also, if I may just add on to the remark of the Solicitor General also, when he says that the unidentified bodies in the morgue are those that belong to the illegal immigrants. Let's talk on the basis of some evidences today. Because I think evidence is what was required for people to hear our voice. And so today I, on behalf of the Mtfd, and I take this opportunity to say that let's talk, let's use our words meaningfully. Because my community, our community, we are already bleeding, and violence has not just affected us, it has affected everybody. So our fight is not just against a particular community, our fight is against inhumanity, our fight is against atrocities, and today we are here fighting for upholding the rule of law. I would want to say that.
The Home Minister also said there will be no change in the demography of Manipur. How do you react to that?
Okay, on that regard, as I said, we, as the people of Manipur, the tribe, put our case, and that is what we can, what we want. Each one has its own opinion, but what we are appealing to the mass, to the country, is that we see reason. Of course, Amit Shah has said on his own consideration and information that he has seen, maybe we don't know what kind of motivation he has for that. We are not privy to that. But our stand is that we present our case again and again, so that the reason and the advantage and the consideration, we take all those facts that we have presented, all those reality that are presented, be taken into consideration in a larger democracy. Because as I said before in the beginning of my introduction, the minority has no strength to change the law in a democratic country unless the guardian and the institutions that are making the norms are intact. The mechanism of the constitution works, only then can we have our voice. If it is one man who has decided the fate of everybody, we have no chance. As a minority, if the majoritarian government is going to do and majoritarian authority is going to prevail, do we have a chance? I don't think so. But if constitution prevails, if reason prevails, if justice is served, we do have our chances. So therefore, with all the political picture that we are having, we are also putting our faith in our democratic mechanism.
Okay, let me just briefly read out what our Honorable Home Minister has said. He says, over the last 6 years, we did not have to enforce a curfew in Manipur until May 3. There was no ban, no blockage, insurgent violence was almost abolished. Then my group member saw a military leadership that has a Cookie Democratic Front Party coming into power. Due to no fencing at the member board, the Cookie brothers started coming into Mizoram and Manipur, which led to the clashes. That's what the Honorable Minister or Home Minister informed the Lok Sabha yesterday. For kind information, I believe the Honorable Home Minister has been misled or misinformed because the very fact in the sentence says that Kuki Democratic Front Party coming into power in Myanmar. We never have of this party called Kuki Democratic Front Party. There has been never in existence. And the Kukis have never tried to come into power in the Myanmar. They are minorities, they don't have that power. And for the information of our audience here, they are Meiteis, they are Kukis, they are Nagas living in Burma. All of them are across the borders. And only the Kukis have been blamed. Only the Kukis have been blamed. And a few weeks ago, due to the clashes between the Burmese junta and the PDF, some Kukis have entered Manipur, but they have been clearly marked and they have been clearly instructed by the government of Manipur. The Assam Rifles have been clearly instructed that these Kukis who have come from Burma due to violence, they have to be sent back within few days. So the question of infiltrators or the question of Kukis from Burma causing the violence in Manipur is totally wrong because they themselves are fleeing for their life. They don't have the capacity to cause violence in Manipur and they are in great distress. And so I believe that the Union Home Minister should listen to our voices as well and not to be informed or not to listen only to the information that has been fed by the state government.
Thank you. So we'll go to the next question.
Sorry, I just, so when you asked on the Honorable Home Minister saying that there will be no change to the demography, I am afraid there's already a change, there's already a divide. No, for all practical purposes, the state of Manipur has been ethnically divided because there is not a single resident, tribal, belonging to the Kuki zoning community. Even the government officials have all been, driven out. Everybody has fled. And then we have an order from the state government, no work, no pay. This is just, making us more, we are more saddened and, yes, these are policies that are working totally against our interests because the moment we land, we don't have access to the airports. We don't have any multi-speciality hospitals in Lanka. So even if we want to travel to the nearest, to the neighboring state, for those of us who belong to Lanka, which is also called Manipur, right? But now we call it Lanka because now the nearest airport is Aizawl Airport, Mtfd Airport, which is a journey which takes about 16 to 18 hours because of the monsoon or the landslide that happens. And so because there's already a change and because the roads have been totally, the connectivity has been totally cut out, which is also one of the major reasons why no rehabilitation or no packages has been given to us, no relief materials have reached to us. So the relief camps in the hill districts are being run by civil service societies and and also by the church. So it's all running on philanthropy. The presence of the states in these hill areas is nil, it's absolutely zero. But their presence in the valley relief centers, there seems to be some presence there because which is also quite obvious by going by the interview that have been also given by neutral parties on the basis of their visits and their observations. So demographically also speaking, there has been a divide. There's already been a divide. So now the question is not whether it should be or it should not be divided. What is the way forward? I think that is what we all, as a country, we need to start coming up with more of solutions rather than putting the blame game and saying this has not happened or this. It's more than this. It's more than this.
We'll move on to the next question.
Central government had sent several food materials through several trains. Has the food reached the concerned place?
You have to look at the demographic and the geographic situation of Manipur. If you look at the Imphal Valley, now has a lot of national highways that goes into it. And everything comes out from there. Yeah, that's the way the road are being made in Manipur. It comes through the Imphal Valley and then goes to the hill. Now, as I say, the Mera Paivis and the peoples are blocking the supply, anything that is coming into the hills, including people who are military or the police personnel. As I say, they are even checking their Aadhaar card for their ethnicity. Even the Assam Rifles, that is the army and the armies. So therefore, if they are checking, if they have the strength, I would say, to stop an army convoy and check their identity card, do you think a food is going to come through? Is my question to you. It's unlikely. If there is no more question, I think we will conclude our press conference. Thank you very much. It's our heartfelt thank you to you, and you are our voice. And thank you very much.
Bang